Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on Warchant TV. Happy Libations Friday, loosey-goosey edition. Next hour, Mike Martin Jr. I talked about this yesterday, but we always have our in-depth interview with the head man himself before the start of the season, and it takes up the vast majority of the hour. We recorded that yesterday, and in the interest of transparency, this is being recorded just a scotch before we would normally be live at 1. So if you're listening, just so you know, we did this earlier today. Had to. Won't get into the logistics. No big deal. Doesn't matter. Fresh content is fresh content. We're good to go. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. He'll be joining us now. Director Matthew is doing what he does, and you guys are you, and you're listening to us, and we appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to it. So 2 things to promote here. First of all, once again, next hour, Mike Martin Jr. on opening day. He'll be with us for pretty much the entirety of that hour. We go really in depth. If you didn't get a chance to read the story that Austin posted on warchant.com, I would tell you to go over there because we've got some highlights from my interview with Mike Martin Jr., which is a really good one. We really kind of cover the gamut, if you will, everything about the team, everything about philosophy of baseball and what he's done well as a coach, as a newer coach, as a head coach, that is, what he thinks he could do better and where he needs to improve. All of it. It's all out there. And as always, I thank him because his candor is greatly appreciated. We talk about the league. We talk about the state of baseball. We talk about Florida State baseball, obviously. We talk about the rotation, the relievers. We talk about the multitude of players that he's going to throw out there. At each position, a lot of platooning going to go on in the outfield, et cetera. So I think you'll like that a lot. I'm always excited. It's great. Libations Friday, loosey-goosey edition when it's opening day for baseball. It's a signifier. And every year I get pumped up to go over to Dick Hauser Stadium. I know I have fun at Hauser's expense, and it's just because I love it. And I'd like to see it better. I'd like to see it improve. We actually get into that subject matter as well towards the end of my interview with him about what's possible. Actually, Tom, I thought that was interesting, and I'll start right there. You kind of flip the page now in your head to include college baseball, and that of course doesn't just mean Florida State. I mean, it's all the people you have to compete against. It's the schedule. It's the fight for regional play. It's a fight for a top 8 national seed. It's putting yourself in the best possible position against the strictest competition in the Southeast. And so you start paying attention to other programs and how they're doing. And it becomes the weekend now when, how we normally do it these days, Tom, when you're looking at the ticker, you're looking for hockey scores. You're looking for perhaps occasionally a marquee matchup in the NBA. So you'll check a score. Obviously, we're always checking college basketball scores and kind of paying attention to that. Unfortunately, this year for us, that matters a little less as Florida State gets set to take on Duke in a game that I don't think will fare well in. Wouldn't it be something if that upset occurred at Cameron Indoor? I doubt it strongly, but nonetheless, now you can add to that list of things to check along with golf. College baseball scores, because they matter and they impact it. If you think you got a good team, you are jockeying right from the get-go. You don't have time to do much else. You're paying close attention to what Florida State's doing, but what your competition is doing as well.
Yeah, well, you head back to boydsworld.com for the old pseudo RPI and check in on that. I'd like to be doing that a lot more this year in May because last year's record of 31-24 was not great. And while we did great against our opponents, in-state rivals, I should say, not all opponents, but certainly the University of Miami and Florida, that was an excellent series of games for us. I think it was 4 in a row in a given week last year that we won over both of them. But
he's 8-2 against his rivals.
He's 8-2. That's okay. So that's huge. The 40-win thing is gone. That was a 31-win season last year. I know we were short at a couple of games, but you would have had to get out to Omaha to make it happen. And last year's group was let down by their defense ultimately in the end. They made it interesting in the Oxford Regional, but that was a team that was limited, and it was frustrating. It had heart, and it had arms. This year's group, let's hope that they have a little bit more to them. They have bats. They put the bat on the baseball. That's going to be the key this year. because, when you get looking at college baseball scores, it's usually because that means you're good. I find that I look at men's basketball scores less this year because Florida State's not as good in basketball. So I'm not trying to see, who are we competing with on the 5 line or the 4 line? Remember, typically this time of year, we're looking at bracketmatrix.com and saying, where is Florida State? I miss it. I miss it terribly. And I also miss looking at the RPI in baseball late in the season. I think they've got a better club this year overall. They're going to have to prove it at the plate. The arms, no doubt, are there. The swings and the misses are going to be there in the top half of the inning at Dick Howser Stadium. The question is, what does the bottom half look like this year? So we'll see.
I did just for you, buddy. I went to bracketmatrix.com just now while we were doing this show together, just for old time's sake. I typed it in because I, too, enjoy checking it. And sadly, obviously, you can continue to scroll down and you will not find Florida State. You'll not at a place that's enviable, not where you'd want to be.
I mean, this is the time of year where we're supposed to say, what the hell's Gary Parrish doing? Like, does he even pay attention at all to these things? Or you say, Lenardi, you're an idiot. Why do you have us on a 6? We're easily a 4 seed, and that's the conversations that I miss. We'll see if we have the one magic week in Brooklyn, and then we'll have to play a Tuesday play-in game at Dayton or something along those lines. But short of that, that will not be my recent browsing history like it usually is. It's usually my first suggestion. I could be going to our art program, which starts with the letter B, and I hit the letter B, and it goes, bracketmatrix.com? You want to Not this year, man. Not this year.
Hey, by the way, this is also an age-old question, and it is a test for all of the listeners and watchers, viewers, I should say. If your team's not in it, for years we had to find a way to do this because we weren't in it. We were not a team of significance. We didn't matter all that much. And if that was what dictated your fandom of the sport, then you were without in the month of March. You were devastated. And then we became a very real participant in the postseason, not just to make the tournament. We became a team that a lot of people looked at potentially as a Final Four team, certainly an Elite 8 Sweet 16 team. And, of course, I pointed out all the time, and I think it bears repeating for good reason, Florida State has gone to 3 straight Sweet 16s. That's not nothing. That's a big deal, especially at a program like this. So we have to now, unfortunately, re-encounter those feelings from yesteryear where the postseason is going to be here real soon. It's February 18th. I mean, it is damn near March. It's a short month. And March hits and you start to feel the fever and your team's not in it. How engaged are you? Do you watch? Are you going to watch these games down the stretch? Are you going to watch these conference tournaments? How big a college basketball fan are you really? That's the question that gets asked if your team's not any good, if they're not going to be a team of significance. And I think that's what I'm wrestling with right now because I agree with Jay Billis. Officiating has been terrible this year in college basketball. They don't let them play in the sense of movement. You get a lot of mugging these days. They do let them play in that. They're not calling a ton of fouls, although it seems like in our games there's the exception. The product hasn't been great. It's not terrible. I pay attention to it for the college sports book. I'm a gambler. We don't hide that. I try to give good information about these teams, and I certainly am doing more than taking an educated guess on the games. I'm researching the teams, adjusted tempo rates, and what they are from an efficiency standpoint, all of that. I have to make a good gambling pick, but I got to admit, I'm not sitting around watching the random Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, SEC, ACC game right now. I don't know if you are. Every now and again, I'll flip over there if I've got some interest in it, if you know what I'm saying. But other than that, I'm not watching as much, and that bothers me. That makes me sad. It's another byproduct, negative aspect of having gotten to a place where Florida State has very real expectations on the basketball court year in and year out, and to be struck by the lack of expectations and the lack of hope for our team right now with this many games still to play, the remainder of the season, plus the ACC tournament and what would normally be a postseason berth. It makes me sad, brother. It makes me sad. It makes me embrace Florida State baseball all the much more, and it makes me really excited for spring football.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be checking baseball scores and softball scores a hell of a lot more this month than I normally would be doing. I can tell you that I won't watch one extra second of the ACC tournament than I have to. I don't like any of those programs. And it's a down year too, so there's nothing to it. I would run to Iona and watch the MAC tournament, but the Greek hating Rick Pitino is the coach, so that's kind of a That's nothing for me. I'm not going to watch the games in Dayton unless we have one magical week in Brooklyn and we have to play in one of those playing games, because I imagine that's where they would stick us, and rightly so. So I will be showing up Thursday at 11 a.m. wherever I need to be and get ready to go. And I bet there's a ratio too for a lot of Nole fans out there. Like, our aptitude versus the amount of brackets you fill out. I'll bet it's inverse. The better we are, the fewer brackets you need to fill out. The worse we are, the more pools I'm going to be in. And there's no doubt about that. I'm going to make that tournament interesting, because you've got to also make it interesting for more than just that first weekend, which is great. But once you get to the Sweet 16 and you're actually watching really high-level basketball outside of a couple of Cinderella stories, you've got to have it to where you want to tune in those days too. We have always been, it feels like, a conversation piece in this 2.0 era for the second weekend. Whether we made it or we didn't, we were always in the conversation. And in most brackets, you wouldn't be crazy to pencil in Florida State to get 2 wins the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. That's just not the case now. So, yeah, I'll have to do some engineering in order to stay interested in it. But the good news is by the time you get to Sweet 16 weekend, you're about this close to the spring game into the Masters, which is good.
It hurts. I was looking this morning, Tom, when we were getting set to come on here and do the show, and I was just looking at a bunch of different stories and profiles and things that we wanted to talk about in this first hour. And along the way, I decided to take a look, an in-depth look, with all of those metrics, strength of schedule, opponents adjusted, tempo, all of that, defense, luck, all the stuff that you can find on Pomeroy, Ken Palm stuff, and then go beyond that. And along the way, it struck me, I wonder where Florida State is after all those adjustments. Where do they rank right now with the struggles that they've had? Where do they rank coming on? Do you have any idea on the Pomeroy college basketball rankings with all those adjustments added in for strength of schedule or lack thereof, tempo, rebounding, efficiency, all those things? Where do you think Florida State is, buddy?
123.
That's a good guess. We're 101st.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we're better than you thought, huh?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. Thank you for making this day a little bit better. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're 101st behind such powerhouses as Grand Canyon.
Ooh.
Yeah, you didn't even know that existed. Me neither. Grand Canyon, Drake, Bradley, Cincinnati, your beloved Iona.
Bradley from the corner pocket's better than us?
Bradley, Wichita State, Santa Clara, Towson, Furman, Toledo, Grand Canyon. Did I say Grand Canyon? Yeah, that's where we are. It's damn it, man. It's just, this will not stand. I will put the finishing touches on this opening segment by saying this. I really believe this will be the impetus for a concentrated effort by Leonard Hamilton to radically alter aspects of this roster to where you have some safety net measures in place where if guys get hurt, you can't. Corey brought this up on Seminole Headlines this week, and he's right. Lots of teams suffer through injuries. Lots of teams lose inspiring leaders, veteran players, and they don't fall off a cliff the way that Florida State did when Malik Osborne went down. In essence, you start with Malik Osborne. We've had myriad injuries to go along with it, but really their play began to significantly drop off the second Malik Osborne wasn't present. And Florida State goes from being a first-place team in the ACC, winners of 6 straight, to losing at home to Pitt. And quite frankly, without a heroic performance against a bad Clemson team, they lose another home game the other night. So, you can't have a situation where you lose 2 or 3 guys and all of a sudden you can't play. You're just not competitive. You look like the last place team in the league. That can't happen. The transfer portal market is going to be hit hard, I really believe, this offseason. Yeah,
it has to be in the front court, right? That's what you need players for. And Malik could come back too, and that can help. But I'm not going to say that I'm shocked by the fact that they fell off a cliff. We talked about this openly, about how thin they are near the basket and how maybe this year that opens up the opportunity to play small, to play fast and athletic with Malik Osborne as, your 5, which we couldn't find a home for him. First it was he got caught up with Raekwon Gray. Then it was, well, even when Raekwon's not on the court, what do we want to do with him? Because we've tried to develop him away from the basket. Maybe we need him closer. So it was always an in-between. There was a question you asked Coach Ham last year. think it was like in December, and that was a good season. And we were playing really well at that time. He's like, well, we just don't have a home for Malik. Well, then when Balsa left, it was a hole that wasn't filled, and Gom wasn't even going to do it if he was healthy. And then the moment that, that all happens, Malik's hurt, and Gom is close to returning, you find something in Naheem McLeod that you like, and then he breaks his wrist or hand, or it was his finger, whatever it is. He broke his hand. And so even your offensive things that you like, because he's going to give up a lot defensively, but even the offensive identity that you were developing is now gone. So we knew this team was thin, and it's kind of like FSU the last handful of years in the offensive line. You get one key injury to the wrong guy, and everything falls apart. How much better would the offensive line last year have been if Devontae Love-Taylor was himself from 2 seasons ago? It might have actually been okay.
Right.
Good. And he could have played whatever tackle position needed if somebody else went down, but he was never close to 100%, and we felt that all year. So in the same way, for this basketball team, we're not used to being this thin, even though we still play 8 or 9 guys, which with this year's roster that's a dicey proposition to begin with. If you lost the wrong dude, this is where you were going to be. You just can't be in that position. Like to Corey's point, you can't fall off the cliff. But to me, that's about roster management, and that's where I think you're right. We're going to be hitting that transfer portal really hard for veteran presence near the basket. We got to get tougher, plain and simple.
That's an important key thing to point out here. It's not just that you lost some personnel and guys got hurt and you're in a transitional state because you lost guys to the NBA. That's going to happen if you recruit really well and you bring in elite players and they play well or they have the body types and project well. They're going to get drafted, and you're going to be – that's part of the modern era of recruiting. It's one and done, and you take your risks. I'm sure Duke was happy that they got Zion. This happens. We've been happy, obviously. Patrick Williams was a good get for us, and Scotty Barnes was a good get for us. But this is what happens if those guys play well, and then it coincides with others emerging as future pros and leaving after their junior year or senior year. Balsa having an opportunity to play professionally abroad, that killed us. We know what we would have been with him. And by the way, his game was developing as such that he could play down low and away from the basket. He would have been a monster this year in helping these kids grow. But of course, newsflash to everybody. I know we've all watched the games. He's not here, and we miss him terribly. In many ways, we miss him a lot more than we miss Raekwon Gray. I know a lot of people would say, no, if Raekwon had come back and made a decision that benefited Florida State, that we would be better. I'm not so sure. Raekwon would help, but Balsa would have been the key figure to get back in my mind.
No, Raekwon would have helped you on the glass, and he would have been somebody that they could turn to. There have been so many moments this year in the half court. They're like, who wants the ball? Well, yeah, Raekwon Gray would have wanted the ball. But you talk about creating lanes for driving, running your whole offense. Hell, even Balsa towards the end of the year last year showed dribble drive. It was like,
he beat people off the bounce. He was shooting threes. He did everything.
He could have earned himself a ticket into the first round with this year because we would have had nothing else. He would have been a double-double machine, and he would have found his way much higher in the NBA draft. But I get the sense that when he left, it wasn't about necessarily making it in the NBA. It was just about making it to the direct deposit box. So, fine.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a decision you can make. Hey, so given that it's Libations Friday and loosey-goosey, I say this a lot. I love my listeners. I love the people that get the show and get aspects of the show that are developed over years, nuances, quirks, and personality. They understand things we like. Somebody sent me something on my Instagram account, and it made me laugh because it came in the dead of night, which means they must have been scrolling and came across the story and said, Jeff's going to love this. And guess what? I'll talk about it next. I'll describe what it is. But another garage sale, Tom, another effing garage sale. It happens all the time, just not to me. And for whatever reason, it pisses me off. I'll talk about it next. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
%, off, necessary repairs, and $25 Berry Bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186. Applications, onboarding, payroll, termination. Business owners and managers, these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee-owned for nearly 15 years, and in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services, online at northfloridapayroll.com.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
The all-new Smitty's Tap House and Grill is now open. Smitty's reflects a deep appreciation for fine craft beers and tasty bar treats, with family recipes handcrafted by Smitty himself. Try the house-made giant pretzels, made from scratch mozzarella sticks, and some of the best cheesesteaks you've ever had. We're not even scratching the surface on what Smitty's Tap House and Grill has to offer, so be sure to visit Smitty'sTapHouse.com to check out the full menu. Smitty's Tap House and Grill on Thomasville Road, just north of Cary Forest Parkway.
Hi, Taco.
Hey, champ, how you doing? Pull up a pillow. Haven't seen you in a couple of days. Hey, something's different about you.
That's right. My people took me to Tally Spay, the affordable spay and neuter clinic on West Tennessee.
Tally Spay? Isn't that the place where they...
Yeah, they're a low-cost, high-volume spay-neuter clinic.
So you're saying you've had some work done?
I did. You'd think I'd be depressed, but truth is, I don't even miss them. If anything, I feel more calm. I don't feel like I have to run around looking for company, and my people can leave me alone with the couch cushions.
Hey, I can stop anytime I want.
Tally Spay, a low-cost, high-volume spay-neuter clinic open to the public, serving Tallahassee and the surrounding areas. Tally Spay. For more information and to schedule a same-day surgery and pickup, go to tallyspay.com. That's tallyspay.com.
Our friends at ISF work hard to help their clients solve the future. ISF is an integrated IT and management consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, serving clients all across the country. With the new year upon us, ISF reminds you to create a clear strategy, optimize your process, and modernize your technology to meet all your goals in 2022. For more information, visit ISF.com. That's ISF.com. ISF, solving the future. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com. Good afternoon, and Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Libations Friday, loosey-goosey, opening day edition of the program. Next hour, Mike Martin Jr. going to join us for a good bit of that hour, almost all of it next hour. I think you would do well to listen to it. It's a good interview, and it's a great season preview because we really do vet the entirety of this team, the depth chart, and what you're going to get with the rotation, the bullpen, and, of course, your position players. So look forward to that. If you're watching on Warchant TV, you'll see our many sponsors that we are thankful for and participate with. But you see Orange Theory up there in the left-hand corner, and I would invite you to swing on in to your nearest Orange Theory Fitness. I go there, enjoy it very much. It's why I tell you about it. There's one in Midtown. There's one on the north side of town as well by the Fresh Market parking lot. And the first workout is always free. And I think if you were to participate in that workout, you'd sign up. You'd say, okay, this is for me. I like it. Not going to tell you it's easy because it's not, but it is body transformational and it is science-backed and it does work. All right, I mentioned it a moment ago. Thanks to you guys, thanks to a listener who sent this to me, follows me on Instagram and or found me on Instagram, and then sent this story in, and it made me laugh because it's the kind of thing we've talked about for years on the show. Here's your headline, Tom. This $30 garage sale drawing, here we go, ... turned out to be worth more than $10 million. It's a drawing. A good one, but, nothing earth-shattering. Garage sales obviously attract people thinking they're going to find the deal of the century. They often do. It's stories like this that make me want to go to every single garage sale I pass. I'm going to become that guy in my old age, Tom. I'm not stopping. I'm going to garage sales.
Isn't that kind of now? No?
No.
Isn't I mean, hang on. To be fair, isn't 50 about the beginning of the demo? Like 25, maybe 23 is the beginning of the demo for sports talk radio if you have a listener, right? Like that's when they're aging right in. The PGA Tour gets you around 29, 30 years old. Next thing you know, why are you on Golf Channel all the time? Weather Channel, same way. 50 is about that age for the garage sales when it's, hey, you're up early anyway. If you're up at 5 a.m., hey, let me go see what's going on at 6. It starts at 6. I can get there before anybody else, find some good deals. I could see it working.
Well, you're not wrong. I don't know too many people that want you on their property at 6 a.m. I mean, that is an early bird. I mean, that is a tough deal there. I mean,
when my parents did, we started at either 6 or 7 in the morning. The garage sales that we did, we put it ads in the paper. I think we did 2 or 3 at my house growing up, and it was always bright and early because we were trying to get it done. Like we were trying to sell it all by lunchtime, and it never worked, but we tried.
I've never been a part of a garage sale. I've never had one myself. My parents never had one when I lived with them. I've never done it. I could stand to do it. I can assure you that if you come to Jeff's garage sale, you will not find a drawing that then turns around and worth $10 million or some secret Van Gogh that nobody knows existed and it's out in my garage. No, and I don't know what it is, and I'm going to sell it to you for $2, and you're going to get it for $40 million at some point. Nope, it doesn't exist in the Cameron household. I wish. I've scoured through all my old stuff, hoping that I accidentally purchased something somewhere at an antique store ages ago, and I don't have to go there either, in the hopes that I might have something of value like that. But I can assure you, nope, it's just dumb trinkets that I beg my wife to get rid of all the time. It's stuff that I think, look, I get that you got this when you were in college or that your mom gave this to you in high school, but do we really need a Raggedy Ann doll? Do we really need it? I don't think we do. I don't think we need this. And so, it's kind of.
But what if one of those trinkets was offered to the, passengers in first class on the Titanic? Like, what if it was waiting on them in their bedroom and it was one of the, 10 remaining? Like, maybe you should vet these things before you get rid of them real quick. Maybe you are the story because of Christie's stuff and you just don't know it yet.
Well, there would be a double layer of all this, because if that's true, long lost Raggedy Ann from Titanic found in Tallahassee, Florida garage, if that is true, then what would happen is people would read that story and then they would read about the guy that owned the house being obsessed with people who have stuff like that in their garage, and all the time it was in his. So that's how that story would read, and people are like, see?
Yeah, I don't have a degree in psychology or therapy of any kind, but perhaps this is your subconscious calling to you. Your obsession with this is because on some
There's
level.
something out there amongst the Christmas lights.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I don't think so. The rest of the story reads as follows. It's being called one of the most significant art discoveries of the last few decades, with the drawing identified as a piece from Albrecht Dürer, a European Renaissance master who died in 1528. So my man drew this thing in the 1520s. An art collector discovered the piece nearly by accident, and someone who thought they found a pretty neat little piece of artwork turned it into a nice fortune. The whirlwind started when a bookstore employee asked the art collector for their opinion on a drawing that they picked up at a garage sale over the weekend. There haven't been any new discoveries from the artist in decades. They thought they had identified all of his works. The collector declared this one either the greatest forgery that he had ever seen in his life, or in fact, a real masterpiece. So imagine, Tom, at that moment, how what you are either holding a winning lottery ticket or you got the numbers wrong. But I mean, can you imagine that moment of trying to get that verified?
Or this art collector knows the work so well that they spent years forging the work until the perfect piece came together, and they said, listen, I need you to be my accomplice here. You're going to find this in a garage sale for 30 bucks, and it's going to become more plausible. Because if I just found it as an art dealer and art critic, there's no way. But if you work with me on this, because that person has to have an amazing conscience to know the bookstore employee who shows them the piece, and they could have said, piece of junk, but I'll give you 50 bucks for it. They didn't do that.
I was just about to go there, Tom. I was just about to say this person is a good person. I maybe not so good. I think I would have said, now, if it was Joe Blow who worked at the bookstore or whatever, and I didn't care about him or her, I'd go, I don't know. I like that. I'll give you 50 bucks for it. See, you made 20 bucks. There you go. And then they'd give it to me, and I'd be like, hoo, dumbass, and I'd be rich. But if it were you, well, I love you. So I'd be like, well, Tom, I got to tell you, congratulations, you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
A little something for my troubles. I'm just saying.
I thought you were going to say, Tom, I love you. That would look great in my living room. I'll give you $500 for it. $500.
$500. Yeah.
Also, I got two tickets. They're Delta vouchers. Anywhere you want to go in the country.
Anywhere you want to go. Yeah. On me, buddy. Have fun with it. Have fun with it. Yeah. By all means. Over the next few years, numerous experts from around the globe had to attempt to verify the piece. The price of the drawing was deemed just north of $10 million. And of course, I mean, that's why you watch Antique Roadshow or Pawn Stars or any of that stuff. I mean, that is exactly why you watch it. And I'm not going to lie, I watch all of those things. I watch the Antique. Oh, yeah, I watch the Antique Roadshow. I love that show.
Well, yeah, that's fine. I've never watched one episode of Pawn Stars, and I know it's got a subculture of people who can't get enough of that show. And I know the memes of it with like the guy shouting and then the chairs getting tossed at the end of it. Those are always funny.
Yeah.
Every time I see one of those, but it's actually a good show.
Here's the problem with Pawn Stars and all other reality type TV shows. The scenarios that they put the people in are clearly crafted. So one of the things that bothers me is like the dialogue, they think it's so necessary for the principal characters, which are the people that own the pawn shop. They think it's necessary for us to allegedly be a fly on the wall for a conversation in the back between the old man and the son, the father who owns the store, who's now dead, by the way, and his son. And the conversation's so fake. It's always contrived and nonsensical. If you can get past that, it's a little bit like a laugh track. If you can get past that, the actual items that people bring in and have evaluated, that's really cool. Like, I mean, a guy came in the other day that I watched, I think I brought this up on the air, with a concert played Jimi Hendrix guitar, and he had it authenticated, dated, the show, place, time, songs, set list, whole deal. And you find out his backstory is that he owns a music store in Los Angeles, and that he came across it many years ago. Somebody who had been a relative or friend or roadie or whatever for Jimmy had it, brought it in, could prove it. And I don't know if it was with like the serial number or what it was, like, I don't know, but they were able to prove it. And the guy was between a rock and a hard place. He needed to sell it. And what was cool was you're watching it, and then the guy says, well, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I know one who is, and he's going to come in, and we're going to get this authenticated and evaluated. Guy came back and was like, yeah, man, that's probably worth about $50,000 to $60,000. So what I was blown away by was not only were they able to do that, but then my man goes, okay, well, let's cash you out, and just gave him $50,000 in cash.
That's crazy. But in a way that feels light. Jimi Hendrix, I guess there's a ton of them. There must be a ton of them.
Yeah, there must be. There can't be just two, right? I mean, there must be a ton of them. You're right. But the rest of this story is that it took 2 years, but they did authenticate it. And a man got $10 million because he knew enough to just pick this up and go. Also, by the way, credit to all of these people. Okay, I don't know about you, but I took humanities in college. So did you. I'm sure you had to, right? So, it's one of your, 100 level courses, right? You take those, and I like it because it's a lot like history, and I love the different periods, and I like art, and I like obviously cultures, and I like history, and I love to learn who presented what when, and what century this happened, and what era taste changed and shifted towards whatever absurdism and all that stuff, right? So I'm amazed that people, and I guess I shouldn't be, because there's an expert in every field, right? Somebody cares enough about this stuff, but for as much as you and I know about sports, or as much as I know about music, right? I'm not so sure that my expertise is at a level where if you were to show me, I don't know, I'm not thinking of a good anecdote here. I'm not thinking of a good comparison, but this drawing it's a pencil drawing. It's just a drawing on a sheet of paper. Okay. Now I know there are context clues because the artist has patterns, and if they were left-handed or right-handed, there are tells, there are things that you can, but man, these people that look at a drawing from some dude in the 1500s that was pretty prolific, was amongst a bunch of other artists at that time who did something similar, and they can just look at it and go, that's a Dubert. What the hell? That's amazing. There are artists I can do that with. We know Van Gogh's colors are different from everybody else's, and it's very vibrant and very stylistically we can recognize him. And you can do that with a few others. But there are people who can just look at a drawing, a shade, and tell you that is a Dubert.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't know a power forward from a second baseman, though. It's just like, it's all what you do with your time. And if you think about the world, how big it is and how many people are in it, yeah, the odds are somebody's an expert in something. I mean, like, you could be, if you really wanted to be, let's say that Nolan Ryan was your favorite pitcher. Like, you might be able to spot his glove somewhere. Like, oh my God, that's the blue Rollins that he used in Texas. You might be able to spot that. Is something along those.
True. Yeah, you're probably right. Like signature things about the player.
Yeah.
Yeah. There would be a giveaway, and sometimes it wouldn't even be obvious. Like if you knew that much about him, then you knew that when he got nervous, he gnawed on the string tie on the inside. And so if you saw that, you'd be like, yeah, it's been gnawed upon.
Yeah. Instead, though, we play golf and go to Corner Pocket on Fridays. That's what we do with our time. Those people just study films and read the books and go to the galleries all across the world for whatever their specific concentration is. That's how they know it. It's just, I would never be that fanatical about anything, and that's unfortunate because that's probably what holds me back from finding a $10 million discovery at a garage sale.
Well, I don't know about that. You'd have to be extremely lucky. That guy to be in that state at that time at that garage sale. But what's weirder is that he knew this person who would have that information stored. I mean, like to walk over to your buddy and be like, hey, Jerry, is this Dubois? What are we doing here? I think it is. Huh? That's crazy.
Yeah, something tells me that Jerry was his most difficult customer at the bookstore. He's like, you know what? I want to put this guy to good use. This guy is up my you-know-what all the time about the pages being bent on his brand new book. Like, okay, you know what? Let's see if he's really all about what he says he's about. Oh, my God. Thank you, Rich.
Yeah. Well, it's filed away, everybody. There's another one in a long series of these stories on the Jeff Cameron Show of somebody finding something at a garage sale. And I'm not talking about like Antiques Roadshow where they have all those experts and they go city to city and people come from all around. This is a garage sale, a random thing. Remember the last one we did? Somebody found old photos that turned out to be Ansel Adams photos that had been lost forever. And this person, now you could recognize Ansel Adams, but this person looked at that and was like, I mean, I know what Ansel Adams looks like, but the person was kind of like, oh, I think, and they screwed the person because the best part about that was they knew it. And they were like, oh, They later on admitted that person clearly didn't know what they had, and they gave him like $20.
Yeah, I could give you Andrelton Simmons or Matt Adams, but Ansel Adams, no.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
The council's goal is to address the root causes of violent crime among 16 to 24-year-olds. The mission would be to unify existing agencies and funding to create a plan for reducing homicides and addressing the disparities and challenges for men and boys at risk. Leon County Commissioners voted to contribute $70,000 to the council, and the Leon County Sheriff's Office will commit $70,000. McNeil said said he intends to ask Leon County Schools for an additional $70,000. The Florida House of Representatives have approved a ban on abortions after 15 weeks. The House passed a 15-week abortion ban after hours of debate between Democrats who said the measure would impose an unnecessary burden on pregnant women and Republicans who said they were protecting the unborn. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by McLemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at mclemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with a high of 72. Winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows around 44 tonight. Mainly clear skies and quiet. Mainly clear skies and quiet again tomorrow, 64. Warmer Sunday and Monday with highs from the low 70s to the mid 70s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 72.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
If you weren't the owner of Gordo's and all those wonderful restaurants in it, what would you be doing?
You know, I think I'd want to be I don't know what I'd want to be, boat captain or a cowboy.
You know how to use a lasso?
No.
You'd have to do that if you were a cowboy.
Yeah, but I've never even been on a horse. It's not my place to be on a horse.
I agree. And the horse thanks you. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pastor Tabner was alone with a female church employee. She in a towel and he in his boxers. The charismatic 41-year-old Hurley explained the two of them had been making chili and gotten food on the floor. With the hot dogs that they were making, we are hoping that the pastor used the right condiments.
I think there was at least one hot dog involved.
I don't know what you're talking about. We were just making chili dogs.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV, Libations Friday. Loose Goosey, good to be with you. Hope you're enjoying the show. Hope you're enjoying your Friday, and I hope you're going to enjoy your weekend and maybe taking a little Florida State baseball, baby. It's going to be there. It's real. It's live. It's going to happen. Lights on. Hauser with all the new padding. A new season amongst us, and I'll check for the puddles when I get over there tonight. I'm sure they're there. It did rain today, Tom. It did rain. So the fact that those puddles are omnipresent when it's 97 in the summer and hasn't rained in a week tells me that they're certainly going to be there today. And
yeah.
we named them.
If it's rained any time since I was an undergrad, I think there would be a puddle or two there. But the good news is that, hope springs eternal on opening day. It's one of my favorite days. I like our time slot now, recording aside. The 1 to 3, because, even those Friday 6 p.m. first pitches are now a hell of a lot more accessible to us. So I look forward to making my way over to the Oaks more often this season for a Friday evening. It's just, even though you can't park out there anymore, which is they're doing right by the Oaks themselves, or else we would have killed them as tailgaters. That is one of my favorite Florida State traditions. It's right up there with Florida State basketball. And it's funny that I don't mention football. It's because, well, I came in a lost decade, and while I grew up loving FSU football, I discovered new things about Tallahassee and what this city embraces and what it does with sports. And, among those top things are just sitting under the Oaks on a day like today. Before you get into ACC play late into the season or regional play when it's hot as hell out there, right now it's just a shade of heaven. So I can't wait to be out there today.
Yeah, it's cool that you bring up those traditions. Florida State is heavy on baseball traditions, obviously, with a program that has been consistently excellent as this one has. They've spent the better part of 50 years putting together these traditions and these success stories. We all know, obviously, the elusive national championship is what all that remains for Florida State baseball. They have already checked the box on everything else, whether it's all-time wins, whether it's, trips to Omaha, whether it's hosting regionals, super regionals, whether it's, victories, you name it. They've done it all except win the national championship, and that's always what comes up because it's the only thing that remains. But along the way, a lot of cool stuff happened that is only born out of winning a lot of games and being this consistent. And that is attendance is really good for Florida State baseball. Most places do not feature great attendance for college baseball. They just don't. There are exceptions. Obviously, we know them. There are other traditions. We know them, but very few live up to any of what you see from Florida State, which is pretty impressive. And that's one of them, by the way, buddy. I love it. I love going out there. So I'll say this. I'm going to enjoy this season. I have a suspicion they're going to be really good. Now, I think the question marks are around the offense. And again, next hour coming up here in mere moments, you're going to hear from Mike Martin Jr. He'll get into this. Yes, based on last year, you're going to really have two fingers to your eyes, two fingers back to this offensive group. You got to put the ball in play more. And then I think, Tom, you pointed it out. Obviously, the last number of years where Florida State has been faulty is they don't pick up the baseball. They just don't pick up the baseball. And if there's a modicum of improvement with bat to ball, and you make the routine plays and you're comfortable enough with that, I don't need you to be sensational defensively. I just need you to make routine plays routinely. And if they do that, they have so many arms. It's going to be a really good team. They're going to win a lot of games. And I think expectations will grow in the weeks to come. I think we're going to start getting excited again. And I miss the days of going over to Hauser where there's an electricity because there is this hope that this is the year. Last year, the brand of baseball was poor and the team we knew wasn't good enough. And so you kind of felt like you were playing out the string. When you went over there, there wasn't a sense that you were about to watch something special. There wasn't a sense that that team could be the team that they could get into the postseason to do something once they did. I hope this year, pretty early on, we learned that there's reason for hope, and hope springs eternal. And I'm going to go over there knowing that I might be watching a team or certainly a number of players that are going to go on to do great things. And I think this team has a chance to do that. I really do. And I think you could hear it in this interview that you're going to hear next hour. I think Mike is cautiously optimistic. He knows enough to not overstate, what they'll be, but he didn't certainly back down from expectations.
Well, and he's also somebody who won't hide from the fact that the team's going to be bad in certain areas. So when he has any cautious optimism, I think his general midpoint is a little bit pessimistic about he sees faults before he sees pluses. And so if he's anything close to optimistic about what this team is, that gives me hope too. One of the weird things that this program has that I love so much about it, specifically over maybe any other program in town, is I feel like in a way, soccer and softball have surpassed baseball in terms of national knowness, meaning that, people around the country that are Florida State grads will tune in to a championship level performance or something close to the College Cup or super regionals and softball play. I feel like more people are doing that for those two sports than baseball right now because there isn't much belief in baseball nationally among Nole grads. But what I love about this program that most others don't have at Florida State, it's kind of like the city of Tallahassee's team. It's a very it's almost minor league baseball centric, the way that the city rallies around it. And so that's where, there are times that my friends that I went to school with are saying, man, why are you talking about baseball? I'm like, well, if you lived here in town, you'd get it because we also serve the people of Tallahassee here and having lived in this town for 16 years now. That's what I love about this group. When it's playing well, the city is into it. Tallahassee gets into it. Maybe not all the Nole grads. They'll come around regional, super regional time. And if not, they'll certainly be around for Omaha for a game or two a year. But this is something that we all get to do collectively. And this could be a really fun ride this year.
I think, by the way, and again, we've touched on a lot of the topics and subject matter of the Mike Martin Jr. interview that you're going to hear at the start of the next hour. We've alluded to some of these things. But it's not giving it away. I mean, we get down into the nuts and bolts of stuff in that interview. But Mike brought it up. He brought up he wants to see Hauser rocking again. And I could sense the longing, if you will, in his voice for that because he is hearkening back to a better time. He's not wrong on that. There were better times at Hauser than what we've seen in the last number of years. It used to be a place that was filled with electricity, and those series were huge, and you almost could sense the crowd willing that team to victory in some of these great comeback wins that I was so fortunate to be sitting at and watching and cheering, yelling, screaming my head off. It was the best. It was the best. And I know that to some degree, it's a bygone era. Certain things have gone and may never come back. Baseball has taken a hit in the last number of years, both professionally and collegiately, in terms of the product itself not being as desirable amongst the consumers. But I do think we can get something closer to that if they just pick up the baseball and give indicators that they're going to be one of the best 8 teams in the country, that they're going to be one of those kinds of squads. Because if that's true, people do get that. The town does get that buzz, and they do go out to the ballpark. And they, it becomes that 50-50 proposition for your weekend. Am I going to go to a couple games at Hauser, or am I going to take my wife out to dinner? Am I going to go here? Am I going to go there? Well, if they're really good, it makes the decision that much easier.
That's right. And your wife will want to go with you to Hauser because it'll be rocking and there's an atmosphere there. Yeah, the 2 numbers specifically, those are the generalities, but the 2 numbers specifically, I'll be watching between now and probably that first Florida game. That's usually early enough in the year that you have a good snapshot. It's unearned runs and it's strikeouts in the batting order. Those are the 2 numbers because that'll give you an indicator of how well or not that we're picking up the baseball, and then at the plate, how we're doing discipline-wise. But those are 2 key numbers to look at this year for improvement over last season, the last few years, especially with the defense.
Hour number 2 forthcoming. It is in almost the entirety of the hour. My interview with Mike Barton Jr. comes up next. You're listening to 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV on a Libations Friday. Good stuff.
But I've never even been on a horse. It's not my place to be on a horse.
I agree. And the horse thanks you. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Were you sold a lifetime of dream vacations only to get stuck in a timeshare with a lifetime of rising fees, point scams, and lies?
I was completely taken advantage of.
They stole from us. They were thieves.
Chuck McDowell, CEO of Wesley Financial Group, has been fighting and winning battles with timeshare companies for over a decade, canceling over 16,000 timeshares, resulting in $257 million of timeshare debt eliminated.
I believe that it's my job and my duty to help people out of their timeshare if they've been lied to and they've been done wrong.
If it wasn't for Wesley, I would be broke.
Wesley Financial Group has thousands of verified reviews, averaging 4.9 and 5 stars for a reason. They get results.
I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
For your free consultation and information kit, call now. 800-969-5511. 800-969-5511. That's 800-969-5511.
This is Patty Wilson.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're ready.
He's recording.
Why are you always saying your last name? It's Patty and Scott. Everybody knows
know that.
Patty and Scott.
I don't know. This is Patty Wilson. I am Patty Wilson.
What is the idea behind said promo?
It's for Patty's Playhouse. We're on Patty's Playhouse Saturdays at 11. Tune in. That's stupid. Just tune in. Saturdays at 11. Patty Wilson, Patty's Playhouse. House talk with a happy ending.
Each and every time.
Well, so far this month has already been a long, cold year. But nothing breaks up the cold like a cozy, warm fireplace in your home from Hearth and Patio. You may not know this, but many of today's modern, environmentally friendly indoor fireplace designs offer amazing energy efficiency. And when you get a new fireplace installed by Hearth and Patio, they will also service the equipment to make sure it lasts for years to come. Something else you may not know, Hearth and Patio can also repair your existing fireplace. I'm going to read you a recent review from a real customer. Donna says, our gas fireplace stopped working at a time when we experienced our coldest weather. I called other companies, but the earliest they could send someone out was 10 days. Then I called Hearth and Patio, and they had a technician at my house the next day. He not only was friendly, he fixed the problem and never tried to sell me something I did not need. It was so refreshing. I would not hesitate to call Hearth and Patio again. So the moral of the story is, when you need a fireplace repaired, replaced, or installed, just call Hearth and Patio at 727-4282 or find them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show, live and local on Real Talk 93.3, WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour at townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew with Washington. Separatists in eastern Ukraine say they're evacuating civilians to Russia as tensions spike in the region. Here's correspondent Charles de la Desmond.
Immediate worries now focus on the volatile front lines of Ukraine's Donetsk and Luhansk regions in the east, where a surge of shelling on Thursday has put communities on edge. The separatist conflict between the Ukrainian government forces and Moscow-backed separatists erupted in 2014 and has killed over 14,000 people so far. A spokesman for one of the regions says women, children and the elderly will be evacuated first, and that Russia has prepared facilities to accommodate them. I'm Charles de la Desma.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says he's urging a diplomatic solution to the standoff with Russia.
With the concentration of Russian forces around Ukraine, I am deeply concerned about heightened tensions and increased speculation about a military conflict in Europe. I still think it will not happen, but if it did, it would be catastrophic.
Guterres made his comments at the Munich Security Conference. The former suburban Minneapolis police officer who said she confused her handgun for her taser when she fatally shot a young black motorist, Dante Wright, was sentenced today to 2 years in prison. The Hennepin County judge, Regina Chu, says that Kimberly Potter does not deserve the higher sentence that had been sought by the prosecutors in that case.
I find the facts and circumstances here justify a downward departure from the guidelines.
Kim Potter was convicted in December of first and second-degree manslaughter in the April 11th killing of Wright, a 20-year-old black motorist who was sentenced only on the more serious of those charges in accordance with state law. On Wall Street, it's been slow going. The Dow is down 187 points. More from townhall.com.
Your pets have the same energy they used to? Do they have problems with itching, scratching, a dull coat, or goopy ears? Then your pets need Dinovite.
DINOVITE.com.
For over 20 years, pet owners have trusted Dinovite to supplement their pet's diet.
We started Dinovite, and in our first box, we noticed a difference.
Dinovite is an all-natural daily supplement made from whole foods that help support your pet's immune system, digestion, skin, and coat.
Within 3 weeks, he's not scratching and itching, and he's an all-around happier dog.
Today's commercial pet foods are processed at high temperatures, which bakes out all the essential goodness. These processed foods can lack the essential vitamins, enzymes, and probiotics that contribute to overall good health. Adding a scoop of Dinovite to your pet's food bowl is the answer.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you'll want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy lives. I have 2 cats and 2 dogs. All 4 of them are on the Dinovite.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you stumped on who to call for fast and affordable crane and tree service? Deep South Tree Service is a cut above the rest. They go out on a limb for their customers with the largest crane in the Big Bend area. No job is too tall, no job is too small. Call Rob for a free quote today. 850-877-TREE. That's 877-8733. Deep South Tree Service. Our roots run deep.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout, resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com. Number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Great to be with you on a Libations Friday, as well as, that's right, well, opening day for that ass. A little opening day. Yay, opening day. Florida State baseball tonight, 6 o'clock. Dick Hauser Stadium, Mike Martin Field. His son, the head coach at Florida State University, is set to join us this hour. And for all of it, well, virtually all of it, this little shortened segment aside and a little wrap up towards the end as I give you a little something to spread some pizza money on before we sign off for the day at the end of the hour. But the bulk of this hour will be my conversation. And it was just that, a conversation with Mike Martin Jr. And it occurs to me that I've been having that conversation for 20 years. On the air here during the Jeff Cameron Show, and I thank him in advance. It's really one of the more honest dialogues that we have with any coach because he's willing to talk at length about all of it, the warts, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, the disappointments, the thrill of victory, all of it. And he'll also, and this is one of the things that I always like too, because you always need a refresher course, don't you? You need a little something to remind you who's what and who's back. And it gets tough. And when you're not in baseball season, you forget. I mean, you remember Parker Messick. We all know what a great pitcher he's been, a dominant pitcher he's been, and we know he sits atop the rotation. But sometimes you forget about everybody else that aren't superstar players or aren't All-Americans or All-Conference. And so Mike is going to join us here in a minute. And when he does, we'll go through position by position. We'll break down the roster. We'll talk about a little bit of baseball philosophy. We'll look back at last year. We'll look ahead to this year, the guys that he loves and the excitement he has for this pitching staff. I think Mike will readily admit to you that they've got MLB arms. They do. They have Major League Baseball arms on this staff, both in the rotation and out of the pen. And you're going to want to go see them play this evening. You're going to want to go out there and watch this team play, I think, quite a bit. Primarily because, and he'll talk about it here in a minute, they've revamped the roster. A lot less swing and miss in this roster. That's always good to hear. And yet they have a lot of power arms that miss bats. And so that's a good thing when you're the one doing the pitching. So this is my hour-long conversation or so, thereabouts, with Mike Martin Jr., the head coach, Florida State Baseball. We have it every year. This year, no different, on opening day. We'll do that here in just a second. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Of dollars on your property taxes.
Did you buy a home in Leon County last year? Then you may qualify for homestead exemption. Need to file? It's easy. Visit leonpa.org and click e-file. Mail your application or come by our office on South Calhoun Street. We'll be open extended hours for filing. The deadline to save on your property taxes is March 1st. Visit leonpa.org or call 850-606-6200.
Hi, Taco.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing? Pull up a pillow. Haven't seen you in a couple of days. Hey, Something's different about you.
That's right. My people took me to Tally Spay, the affordable spay and neuter clinic on West Tennessee.
Tally Spay? Isn't that the place where they...
Yeah, they're a low-cost, high-volume spay-neuter clinic.
So you're saying you've had some work done?
I did. You'd think I'd be depressed, but truth is, I don't even miss them. All I know is my family is much happier now that I've been altered. My people even brought Mr. Jingles to Tally Spay.
Tally Spay, a low-cost, high-volume spay-neuter clinic open to the public, serving Tallahassee and the surrounding areas. How you feeling, Mr. Jingles? Ugh, you're right, he is a lot nicer. Go to tallyspay.com. That's tallyspay.com.
When you are approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Pete Tyson and Preservation Financial Group are here to help you preserve your retirement. The team at Preservation Financial Group can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create a comprehensive income plan designed around your needs. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risk before you retire. To schedule a free, no-obligation consultation, reach out to Pete Tyson and Preservation Financial Group today. 850-523-6118. That's 850-523-6118. Or visit them online at preservationfinancialgroup.com.
Hi, I'm Jeff, founder of Which Superior Sandwiches, and I'm here to tell you about our signature Which, the Wicked. Why call it the Wicked? Some say it's wicked tasty, some say it's wicked large. One thing's for sure, with oven roasted turkey, ham, pepperoni, roast beef, and bacon, as well as your choice of 3 cheeses, it definitely takes you from wicked hungry to wicked happy in just a few wicked good bites. Only at Which Superior Sandwiches.
On Wednesday, the Wicked is just $5. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, $5.
What's important when shopping at a gun store? Let's start with a friendly and knowledgeable staff. Then add top-notch service, great selection and pricing, and a personal shopping experience only found at a locally owned and operated business. At Red Hills Arms, they're right on target. While other gun stores come and go, Red Hills Arms remains Tallahassee's go-to local gun store for all your firearms needs. Stop by today and get welcomed in like family.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout, resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com. Welcome back, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. It is one of my favorite times of the year where we get to have a conversation with a friend of mine and also a great coach and a guy who I think is probably, we're going to find out here in a second, pretty excited about the season to start. Mike Martin, Jr., head coach, Florida State University baseball. Meet, first of all, good to have you, brother, as always. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
And then secondly, I want to get right into the fact that you have an abundance of riches on the pitching mound. And, you know, obviously it's about missing bats, and you got a lot of guys that can do that. So just give me a bit of an overview here. What we do for people that are new to the show, we always have a long-form discussion before the start of the season where you kind of go position by position and let people who aren't familiar with the baseball program kind of get a feel for who your guys are, what your expectations are, and what you think your areas of weakness and strength are, obviously. And I think anybody asking you this question would start with the pitching. You've got a lot of talent, whether it's Parker Messick and everybody else from that matter on down. Talk about this pitching staff.
It's elite, and we're very excited that we have the depth on the mound that we do. They're cut from a different cloth too. Sometimes, they believe the hype, and those are the ones that won't perform and continue to strive to get better. They feed again off of each other, and it's a special group. Parker Messick is a good leader and a pitcher as you'll find in college baseball. Bryce Hubbard, the same sort, cut from the same cloth, and Ross Dunn is going to go third. He's been much improved. He's always had the big equipment. Strike percentage wasn't there. Misses were too big. He didn't field his position as well last year, but everything these days, he's been really dominant. And so we're excited to have him in the third spot. Carson Montgomery in the fourth spot. Same sort of thing. Those guys are interchangeable. Everybody's interchangeable. Jonas Scalero close. He's got a changeup now, by the way. Hub and Messick also added a slider to their arsenal. So that's one of those things you and I talk about. The umpires, if it goes out of the zone to come into the zone, you don't get the calls. Those sliders are a little bit smaller, stays in the zone the whole time, get more calls to flip some counts. Jonas Scalero is a different guy because he's developed a changeup. We sent him out this summer and said, you need it. Yes, you've got the breaking balls and the fastball and all that, but you got to have a changeup. Well, he came back with as good a changeup as we've got on our staff. So, we're going to mix and match. We're going to use a ton of guys on the mound. There's, so many to talk about, but, it's going to make for a longer game. I'm going to get my old ass out to the mound as fast as I can, but we've got to keep them fresh and keep them sharp.
When you have, as I described and as you just described, an abundance of riches on the mound, I wonder what your philosophy is, Meat. Do you tell guys throw as hard as you can for 5 innings and don't worry about it because we're going to go to the pen, or what do you do?
There is no pacing. I think the big leagues have shown that you don't pace and just kind of, work your way. No, give us what you got. If you're tired, we'll come and get you. And that's after 5 innings, Parker Messick, fine. But we're not in a situation because we don't have to have it that way where you have to pace because you don't have, the horses down there. And so it's a comforting feeling. Guys will know their roles. The key is them accepting their roles. I want to have it lined up to where, this happens in the 6th inning, and they're left. Here comes Andrew Armstrong or, and it may be in the 7th inning, a leverage situation where we think the game's on the line right here. We'll go get Jonah and try to get, out of that inning and get us to the 9th and then use somebody else. So it's not, when we say close, it's not necessarily that way. If it's happening in the 7th or 8th, we'll go get, who we feel is best for that matchup.
Game has come a long way, man. I mean, to have this conversation, this isn't something you would have had 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I mean, I thought for years, and I wonder, for all the years you were a player and an assistant coach, I wondered if you ever thought to yourself, we're doing this all wrong. The highest leverage situations could be in the 5th, could be in the 6th, could be in the 7th. 2-run ball game, 1st and 2nd. We got to get this guy out. We got to make a play. This is it. This is the game here. Do you like it? Do you like where the game's at in that regard?
I do, because I'm, kind of an analytical type that, I've always wanted to feel like I had an edge. And so, the shifting, we're going to do a lot more of it this year. So, get ready for that. A lot more of it while it's still legal. I think they're going to take it away, but
they're going to take it away?
Yeah, I think so. Just
MLB or college or both?
It takes a while for it to get down to us, but it's MLB, it'll take a couple of years after the MLB does it. But I think that's going to happen. I think,
do you want it to happen?
I'm sorry?
Do you want it to happen?
Yeah, I do. I also want to counteract it. We've really pounded our guys. We want to be the only team in which nobody gets shifted. All of our whole lineup. I don't want anybody to get, to have a shift against them. And they've bought in. It took a while. It took some hooting and hollering and screaming, but we've really been a lot better offensively this year or this spring than in years past. The strikeouts are down, hard contacts up, opposite field, all that goes hand in hand with what we're trying to accomplish.
I want to go through the position players, and I'll do it in a second. Why don't they do that in Major League Baseball, Mike? I mean,
because they pay for the home run.
That's it. That's it.
That's the thing. And so that's all our guys see growing up. So they think that, well, that's the only way I'm going to get paid. Well, they're starting to pay for the guys that can defend and play multiple positions and have a high on-base percentage. And it's starting to turn. They're realizing, hey, man, this is the way you win. And so thank goodness that's happening. And they also, when they see a home run, as a 14, 15-year-old, it's just a home run. But if they notice where those guys are hitting them, it's up the middle other way, but they just think home runs. So they want to hit everything out in front, and because that's where most of their power is until they learn to do it correctly. So you're fighting that, at this age, pretty big.
One of the things I always like about the fact that we get to have this conversation, and again, I appreciate you doing it, is that people get to know you a little bit, and they can kind of figure out the way you think and why you're doing what you're doing. Do you watch a lot of pro baseball?
I've watched the Rays, and the Braves. I was a Braves TBS back in the day. That was the only one we would get. But, I don't stay up late and watch, West Coast stuff and things like that. But, any chance that I get, it's a lot of times it's just background noise. But, when it's somebody that I recruited or, somebody that played for us, then I'll kind of tune in. But, I do like to, talk with Eduardo Perez and guys that are, into this stuff, Kevin Cash, just to pick their brains about certain situations. And this happens late in the game. You got a 1-run lead. What are you doing? You bringing the infield in or not? And we've got a lot of analytics. Everything that we have, we're fortunate to have. I'm not going to tell you where I got it from, but it's already predetermined. It's by the inning, the run differential, whether you're up, you're down. It's infield in, whether to bunt, stuff like that. It's all, you're playing the odds.
So this is fascinating, and I love it. So did you agree with Kevin with the Blake Snell situation? I mean, that's a classic, Mike.
We all have bosses. I'll just leave it at that. So
okay, but you don't. Right. So you're your own boss in this situation. Obviously, the university, but you know what I'm saying. Would you override the numbers?
Yes, 100%. Because again, when he's given up those runs in that certain part of the game and that 6th, 7th, that was back when he was 92, 93 during that period. That day he's 96, 98, and everything's working. There's no way I'm going to get him there.
Yeah, I always wonder about that because the guys that are, and I'm pro metrics and analytics and percentages, I'm with you on this. The game was asinine for years. But I always wonder, when do you decide, okay, because those guys are beholden to that all the time. And I get what you're saying. He's got bosses. But, the guys who have carte blanche to do what they want, once they decide, it's a little bit like deciding whether or not you're going to hit on 16. Right. Either you are or you aren't. You can't decide once you get going. You got to play. You got to have a game plan. I've always wondered when it is that you decide, okay, well, this is different today. This is different. So obviously, go ahead.
You take all the numbers, but you also got have some gut in there, and mannerisms and velocity and sharpness of the breaking ball and strikes. How many? There's a lot that goes into it. If he starts spraying it around and it may be 96, 98, but it's okay. He's got to come out because, again, the numbers show it. But, people always ask, why do I, in certain situations, am I not barking, but yelling at Mike because he's got it right there, and he'll shake his head, yes, yes, we need to infield in, or no, we don't. So it's all, there's a lot of different things that were predetermined.
While we're on the subject of managing and coaching in general, I want to circle back. I mean, you're firmly entrenched now as the guy. And no doubt you've done some things very well and you've made mistakes that you would admit to. So I'm curious, what have you learned and what have you done right and what have you done wrong is a basic question. What is something that you think, oh, I've learned from this. This is going to be better. And what's something that you're like, you know what? I knew this was going to work out. This is the way I've always thought it should be done. And it's working out.
I started out and I like clean innings, meaning let the guy go out, start the inning. If he gets into a mess, and things aren't where you want it, then, go get him. But last year we kind of got away from that. And I felt like, again, in order to keep guys, sharp and fresh, just go that one inning instead of saying that, look, we can get 2 more outs out of him. And then, Saturday, Sunday, and then you don't even need them on Saturday and Sunday instead of just going, airing it all out right there. And I'm not going to, make that mistake again. What we've done good. Well, we're 8-2 against our rivals. So I guess that's a good thing.
If you didn't say that, I was going to bring it up.
Let's see. When I got the job and we started the season, I think we've done a good job, dealing with COVID. And it's real, as far as changing people and young, minds and the anxiety and the stress and we've really tried to tackle that head on and get guys help because we've had some situations where guys were just not right. They were getting, they used to be introverts. Now they're extroverts and vice versa. And, they'd come to you with, problems at home and then you throw in the, struggling in the classroom and things along those lines. It hasn't been smooth sailing, since March of 2020. It's been a little rough.
It's interesting to know you as long as I have. And I think people who even just come across you in general would certainly, I think, probably classify you as pretty old school. And yet that is a very progressive, forward way of thinking. Is that the norm in college baseball anymore? Like in the past, rub some dirt on it. Don't be soft, like whatever. That was kind of the mindset. And in some ways that's good. I mean, obviously you got to be tough to be a competitor and you got to have a bit of a red ass in you. But at the same time, like accepting the fact that these kids have a lot on their plate that we didn't have, Mike. Like social media is crazy. It's just crazy. Yep. And then you throw in a pandemic, I think it's probably not only enlightening, but something that people but also something that people would be happy to hear you say, that you do take into account the psychology of a player and the emotions and all of it. And that you put things in place to help them and equip them to deal with it.
And then you throw in playing time and relationship, girlfriend problems and marital problems. And, there's a lot, that, and we've spent a lot of money. Thank goodness our, bullpen club, we have the money we can go and get it and get people help. And that goes for anybody in the organization. It's not just the players. There's everybody has an awful lot to deal with. And, but we've got to be able to get them out there. The ones that are the best in the world go out there with a clear mind. They're going out, they're right mentally, socially, physically, everything's in line. They can go out there and play with an open, free mind. And so it's been a challenge, but we feel like we're on the right track and putting an arm around them and giving them a mental health day. Take a day, bud. This is, you're hearing it from me. You're hearing it from, another coach, or, we're trying to make you better, but we can tell it's adding up. And, take a weekend, just get away from it for a little bit. It's important.
Is that the biggest change from when you played to where we are now? What's the biggest change in the game from when you were a player to now as a head coach?
The mental side, how you have to be, maybe I can't, treat them all the same. That was the thing back in the day. Treat them all the same. Just, if you're going to be Bobby Knight, be Bobby Knight, to all of them. And the problem was I knew how some of them would respond because I'd had them 2 and 3 years, before the pandemic. And then after the pandemic, now I'm realizing, wait a minute, that doesn't work. And then there's some that you got to be back the other way, that they were, ones that you really had to put your arm around and take time to talk and stuff like that. Now they're the direct opposite. They're responding to, me climbing them a little bit. So it's, I don't even know exactly how to put a finger on it. It's just ups and downs, and the highs are too high and the lows too low. And back in the day, it wasn't that, because they're going to get more followers. They're going to get more, whatever. And so that's the one thing that gosh, I wish it would go away, because they've got enough. And you're right, that whole social media thing is out of control.
We sound like old men, the two of us, talking about it, but I hate it. I mean, I know it's necessary in my job. It's a little less necessary in your job specific to you, but you know your players are going to be involved in it. I remember asking Jimbo Fisher years ago about this. What's your take on that? What do you tell your players about what they can and can't do from that standpoint, from a social media standpoint?
You'll never get a player to come to your school if you regulate. Now, educate, yes, and we do. We take the time to say, look, this is what your life is going to be like if you allow this to affect, and you're constantly staring at your phone. Now, when we're together, we will have times in which no phones, know about your teammates, where their background, where they struggle, we'll for short periods of time, we'll do that. But, during the season and the off season, we try to educate them to where they won't, believe the hype. And that's like I tell them, look, what you're seeing on social media, what you're hearing on the radio, either they're telling you how great you are, which doesn't help you, or they're telling you how, crappy you are. And that doesn't help you either. So there's no in the middle, and you're not there to get information. You're there to, post something or, which can be a nightmare, or, read something that's posted about you that, can affect you. So what's the point of it? And, nobody cares what you're eating for dinner. I don't. Anyway,
I agree.
Hey, I don't have any of it, and
I love it.
We use
I love
it for shooting, and you'll have to.
By the way, you were right on this before everybody else. Like, I used to kind of make fun of you, and like you and I would talk about it. You hated all of it right from the beginning, and I think it's because partly your kids. I mean, obviously, we see your son on the team and all of that, but your boys, like, you had to watch this as it happened. I'm going through it now. With my boys, 14 and 12. And I hate it for them because I realize that it's more negative than positive, but I also know what you're saying, which is that you can't – I mean, we lost that battle, man. You can't fight that battle. They're all on it. They're all going to read it no matter what. But you're right, educating them, informing them, trying to provide some balance, right?
Yeah, you have to. I was in church a while back, and this was probably 8-10 months ago. And the preacher said that the studies are showing that from the age of whatever it is, 13 to 22, they have the same amount of, when they do the studies on the brains, we'll call it clutter, that they used to put 80% of those kids in psych wards. That's just the reality of it, and I truly believe, with all the stress and all, with my responsibilities and stuff like that, if I did have social media, I think I'd be, in a cuckoo house. I mean, it's, it's just too much, and it's too much for these guys. And we're going to keep fighting the good fight, and because again, these guys are going out into society here shortly. And it's important that we take a step back, and we got to win games. We got to graduate players, but we got to make sure these guys are right heading out in the world.
Calls were received by consumers per month, which led to consumers losing $436 million to fraud via phone. The circus has come to town. This weekend, you can enjoy the Cirque Italia Water Circus at Governor Square Mall until Monday. The Aquatic Spectacular features a stage holding 35,000 gallons of water as acts like trapeze artists, BMX bikes, and roller skaters take the stage. Tickets are on sale now, and you can even get a free child ticket using the code FACEFREE. You can get tickets and more info at cirqueitalia.com. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with a high of 72. Winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows around 44 tonight. Mainly clear skies and quiet. Mainly clear skies and quiet again tomorrow, 64. Warmer Sunday and Monday with highs from the low 70s to the mid 70s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 72.
There are endless options for storage sheds, carports, and gazebos from Southeast Portable Buildings. Put all your lawn equipment in new sheds so you can get that pool table and flat screen TV in your garage. Convert a storage shed into your very own happy hour place. 2 for 1 all day long. Want to try your hand at brewing your own beer? Get yourself your own brew barn. Looking to grow marijuana and get in on the game? Get yourself a grow shed. From she sheds and man caves to repair shops and trophy rooms, the possibilities are only limited to your imagination. Visit Southeast Portable Buildings today.
Live in living color and totally free, subscribe to Warchant TV on YouTube, the digital home of Warchant.com. From the practice field to pregame and the phone calls afterwards, Warchant's YouTube channel is home to live programming like Seminole Headlines, Wake Up Warchant, The Jeff Cameron Show, as well as Trench Talk, a live Q&A with Noles offensive lineman Devontae Love-Taylor. Just search Warchant on YouTube and click or tap the subscribe button. That's it. It's totally free. Warchant TV on YouTube. Just another reason we're the ultimate Seminole sports source.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Of 97 patients, 33 are vaccinated, and 63% are considered incidental.
See, this is what I'm upset about. He's basically made up the percentages to look like it's at 100%, but the two are not related to each other.
What's 37% of 97?
It's 35.89.
So why in the hell can't he literally ask iPhone to that in his articles?
Maybe he's got an Android.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
FSU Baseball tomorrow, 6 p.m. James Madison comes to town. The season starts. First pitch again tomorrow. Make sure you get your tickets and go out to the ballpark. You've put in the work, Mike. Your kids have put in the work. Your coaches have put in the work. It's time to get it on. What are you most excited about with this team? I think you would admit to. I think that last year was a bit of a disappointment and frustrating in some aspects. There were a lot of good things, but there were some frustrating aspects about that team. Mainly a whole lot of swing and miss. You referenced it earlier in the show, in this interview, that you've kind of flipped this roster and you feel really good about it. Let's start to do the overview here. Talk to me about this roster position by position.
A lot of new faces. Pitching wise, there's some new faces that'll be doing some heavy lifting, but the bulk of it is, the returning guys. Behind the plate, Colton Vincent has really improved. I swear to goodness, he's throwing out over 80% of runners. We're trying to run more because we have the horses to do it. He's been dynamic behind the plate. We'll hit down at the bottom of the order, can bunt, get a bunt down if needed. He can handle the bat, so we can hit and run with him. We won't hit and run with him on the bases because he runs about like I did, and that's not a good thing. Brock Mathis is the kid we brought in from Oklahoma State. It's another catcher, big time power. We're still working defensively. He's gotten in some habits, older guy, but it's refreshing. Again, the depth that we have on both sides of the ball. Alex Terrell, transfer from Miami. He's going to be hitting 2 because we're out. Jordan Carrion and T-Mart are out this weekend. So we're going to just slide everybody up because JC can hit 1. T-Mart can hit 1. So I don't want I'm just going to slide everybody up this weekend. So Logan Lacey will be playing center field and leading off. Terrell's going to hit second, playing first base. He's been a great addition, great baseball mind. I don't know why his numbers went down, but he says it's a totally different environment. Things are more relaxed. He's in the right frame of mind, and he is, golly, Jeff, he's probably hit 8 or 9 home runs in the fall and spring. That's in, less than 100 and that's not even 100. It's probably 85 at bats. And at second base, it's going to be a situation where, again, where we're at right now, because T-Mart can play in the middle, JC can play in the middle, and they can all play third base. So with all the shifting and stuff, we've done a pretty good job. Men, you're infielders. You're not, Taylor Walls played one night at shortstop, the next night at third base, the next night at second base. So this is the way it is. So get ready for it. You're a second baseman, shortstop, third baseman combined. So, but opening day, Jackson Green will be playing second base. Brett Roberts can go there. T-Mark can go there. Trayton Rank can go there. So, again, it's just isn't set. Playing short will be Trayton Rank, freshman from Atlanta, kind of a throwback guy. He's probably 205 pounds, about 6'2", but he can move. He'll stick his nose in there. Really a throwback guy we're excited about. Brett Roberts, transfer, right-handed hitter. He's got some thump in there. He'll be hitting behind Terrell. So we'll be, I'm trying to keep it as best we can so the guys, the right-left thing. But, again, that's not necessarily when we're at full speed, with our lineup exactly what we're going to do. But he's got some juice. We'll platoon a lot in the outfield. James Tibbs and A.J. Shaver will start out platooning. Tibbs, the left-handed hitter, A.J.'s right-handed hitter, both of them, along with Rank, along with B-Rob. It's the power and speed combo. There's not going to be, Terrell doesn't run and Vincent doesn't run and Mathis doesn't run. But everywhere else, Greeny's not a great runner, but he knows what he's doing on the base pass. But everybody else, it's a power and speed combination, which we like to have. Logan Lacey be playing center field, really can go get it. It was funny. We were standing back there the other day, and Logan went up, jumped higher than anybody thought he could jump, made a great catch, and we're standing there, and then the ball goes back the other way. He's like a retriever. He just nonstop running, and he goes over and makes an unbelievable catch in the gap. And I'm like, thinking to myself, and all of a sudden Terrell is like, I'm an older guy, and I've been around, and that is the best center fielder I've ever seen. And I'm like, I'm starting to think literally. He's like, I've seen great ones, and they've had some dudes in Miami, and they've had this is his 5th year in the league, but Logan can really go get it. We'll platoon out and right with Reese Albert and Isaiah Perry in right field. Both of them again. If Reese is back to, he calls it Reese freshman sophomore, because he's really been swinging the bat and he can play the heck out of right field. So he knows that our screen and our ballpark better than anybody else. And IP wears out left-handed pitching. So him and AJ those are the two. And Reese and Tibbs both wear out right-handed pitching. So we like our situation there. The DH will be Jaime Ferreira, true freshman. Another guy that you look at him, we got him in the outfield. He can also catch. He comes to us by catcher by trade, but he can really put together an at-bat. And he's also, for a big guy, he's about 215. He can really run as well. So I'm excited. I like the group.
It's good to have a player like Reese Albert, who's been, what's he, 46 years old?
44.
Yeah, he kind of knows the ins and outs of FSU baseball in his 20 years here. And in addition, by the way, so you bring in a Gator and a Kane. Tell me that you're not as reasonable with them as you are with the other players that you've described providing psychological help for. Just please ride them and let them know that whatever bastardization process that went on that caused them to make the selections they originally did is forgiven now, but it's not forgotten.
Everybody makes a mistake. We got to believe in second chances. It's funny, when I told 11, I said, hey, this is what we're going to do. And he's like, excuse me? I said, they're going to help, and they're good guys. They're going to be here tomorrow. Just come out if you want to meet them. So he didn't come out that day, but once, he came out, started fall ball, and spent some time with them, he was like, you're right. They really are good guys, and as long as they can, help us, and everybody makes mistakes. So it has. You talk to the guys that have been in the program, the Reese Alberts, Jonah, Kyle McMullen. They're like, this is the best clubhouse in their whole career, and you're always worried about that because you're bringing in special rival, players, and, look, this is we got to do this. And they bought in, and they're good human beings that, look, I just want to win. I'm not going to, all I want to do is win and get a chance to get in professional baseball. And they've really gelled well, and I'm really excited about that.
That's an interesting subject, Mike. I can't think of another sport where it's as important as it is in baseball to have a good clubhouse. Like, not everybody has to like each other either. That's not what it means, right? I mean, you've been in a million clubhouses. You played professional baseball. Obviously you've been here forever. In your mind, what is that, and how do you cultivate it? What is a good clubhouse?
I think I would not be in coaching, and I would just go around if I knew exactly what it was, because everybody wants that, and I don't know exactly what. I think guys that, are right mentally, number one, is important. Two, I'm not so worried about, I want to win, and it's a genuine, I want to win. So you're willing to let things, not get so PO'd at somebody for, whatever. And the whole, pro ball mentality, you're hoping your guy, in front of you does bad so that you can play, there's none of that. But I don't know what exactly makes, that clubhouse. When Buster was here, he was a great, but he didn't have that clubhouse, so to speak, because he was so quiet. He was such an introvert. It still worked, but there's not, one thing that really, and I don't know what the combination is. When we brought in Mathis at the break, I was worried as heck. He's, team favorite. He's funny. He's again, this is my last, hoorah at this thing. So let's win, boys.
What's the thing that you need to see improve the most this year to get to where you want to go? And I know where you want to go.
Yeah, this defense. That's what we win that regional. I truly believe, when we had a 1-run lead, and those types of things, and getting them, those are caused by nerves. He wouldn't be out there if it wasn't, if he's spraying that thing around or couldn't catch it or whatever else, those guys wouldn't be out there. So you've got to find, again, that goes to the clubhouse, that goes to the coaching staff of how we treat them and how we, whether we make them anxious, and, we try to put them in those situations over and over. And, when that time comes, you got to be ready, and we've got to defend. We can pitch it, but it goes hand in hand with the defense. We're going to cut down the strikeouts. We're not going to have necessarily the power. I do think there's some guys in there. I mean, Logan hit 10 or 11 last year. Who's to say he's not going to do that again? But and we've got some juice. I just, it's all around better, combination. The swinging and missing, being able to run, and the power to go along with it. We're just better across the board.
Well, without getting specific, I mean, how frustrating was it for you to watch last year? I mean, Mike, I get the modern game. People strike out, and there's no shame anymore to striking out, but goodness gracious. And I think what made it so difficult was that we could really pitch. So, if you're a fan and you're watching a Florida State baseball game, it's weird because in some ways you're victimized by your successes as well, which is to say, if I go to the ballpark and I'm watching a game and Florida State strikes out 10 batters, 12 batters, 15 batters, then there's not a lot of contact. And then if Florida State themselves can't get a hit or strike out 15 times in a game, I'm spending a lot of time watching nothing happen.
Yeah.
And so you went about the process of revamping the lineup. How frustrating was that for you last year?
Oh, it was. There's a lot. I haven't lost it, but there's an awful lot of gray that came from that, offense last year. And the swing can be right, but if the mindset doesn't match it of what you're trying to do, it's all for naught. And I'd rather have a guy with a bad swing, but his mindset of what he's trying to do and where he's trying to make contact with the ball and in reference to his body, I would rather have that because, and get the pitch when it's there, let's go, and don't swing at the crap. Don't swing at the spin early that's never starting out in the strike zone and you're going to do that because you're trying to hit the fastball out in front. So, obviously we had some struggles get some guys to buy into that. And, so from the get-go, that was our motto. And, thank goodness they have done it because it's not anywhere near, the strikeouts that we had last year. So, and again, I don't want to make excuses and, stuff like that, but people, recruiting, we recruit real early. Don't forget, we recruit really early. You have to. That's when in our league, in our game, that's what they do. Well, we had a long stretch there where they didn't know who the head coach was going to be. And, that was difficult. And so some of that was, because there was nothing I could do. It sounds great. Sounds year after year after year, that's getting used against us. And, it sounds great. Yeah, that's where I want to be. And then they get tired of waiting. And so it was, we flipped this thing pretty quick. Mike Metcalf's unbelievable what he does. And, it's a totally different look.
Yeah, and that's not like sour grapes. That makes sense. If people don't know who the head coach is going to be, then it's hard to recruit somebody with any degree of certainty at that point. So you've been able to do that now. Last couple things here, Mike. I am kind of curious. First of all, I love, and I was always on your ass about this for years. TCU and Cal. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's go. Let's go.
It was unbelievable that TCU happened to have the same off-conference weekend as us, which should never happen. We should be like, the SEC and just go 10 straight weekends. But, our academic brethren to the north, they can't do anything on finals week, the weekend after finals. They can't, whatever. But so, that worked out. And Cal, the same sort of thing, that worked out to where they wanted to come in and we don't have to make a return trip to them. Because if it would have been that, I wouldn't have done it. Because now you're, losing money versus making money. So we do have to go out to TCU next year, which is fine because that weekend is nearly impossible to get somebody. It's going to be an Alcorn State because they're the only ones that have a league in which they're going to have off weekends. And so worked out good. It's what our fans deserve, 36 home games. The opening weekend, arguably a chance to be the first pick in the draft. Chase DeLauder will be here at JMU, big time player. And, I want to get this place rocking, get some normalcy going here. I'll tell you a quick one, Jeff. I was sitting there after practice the other day and, we're talking about this and focusing and, we had the lights on and the, behind the home plate and the scoreboard was on and all the lights on. We practiced at night. And I said, you know what, Jonah, Reese, Mac, Kyle McMullen, I said, y'all are the only ones that have seen this place rocking. A true Hauser rocking, full capacity, good luck, opposite team, opposing team. And Alex raises his hand and goes, Coach, I've seen this place rocking before. Alex Terrell. He was at Miami. He's like, I've seen this place rocking. He goes, it'll make you start doubting, how good you are and, getting in your head. And he's like, and I was like, that's right. You have been here because he's a fifth-year guy as well.
It's the best, man. We've got to get back to it. It's my fondest memories, and we're roughly the same age. And of course, I saw you as a player, and I remember sitting out in the bleachers doing homework, in the early 90s and just taking in baseball games midweek. But then the weekend would come around and you just knew it was going to be electric. And imagine how electric it can be now, because back then we had to sneak in our alcohol meat, but now you don't have to do that. You're right there. You're good to go. You can just go buy a beer.
Yeah. Bring a fat wallet with you if you want 2 or 3 of them. But I couldn't believe how much they charged for them. But they say, and I'm like thinking, well, I'd probably want a hot dog and a beer myself, so I'd pay it as well.
Hey, I have a question for you, because we love talking baseball in general, of course, specifically these days about this team right now on the verge of opening day. But I'm always jealous and envious. I want the best for Florida State baseball. This is a program that I kind of grew up with, and I know all you guys so well. Any chance, if we're not going to, and I don't want to be negative, if we're not going to make certain changes to the stadium or whatever, can we ever add anything out there in the outfield and get a little crazy like they do at several ballparks these days, where I'm jealous when I'm watching TV and I see a home run hit in certain ballparks and I see the students going nuts and throwing beers in the air and going crazy out there in the outfield. Any chance we could ever do that here?
I think there is. I don't know if this footprint will allow for it. But, Michael Alford's a baseball guy. He played baseball at Mississippi State. He worked at Mississippi State. He's seen what it looks like, and he's on it. And, again, we get it. Football is going to be first, as well they should be. But, things take time, and we got to get, some funds, going in that direction. And, he came out and he's like, what in the world is this? Because we're expected to beat them, and we got to get the horses when it comes to recruiting, and our fans deserve it. And there's a lot of things that really point to it, and I think this can really be a moneymaker. We can get more people in here and sell boxes, and when I say here, and I don't know if we can do it on this footprint, but there's just a lot to be figured out. But Mike's on it, and we're excited about that.
Well, I'm excited for opening day, and I'm always excited to talk to you. And you've been more than kind today to give us this much time. So, hey, brother, have a great season. Good luck to you. Get after it. I know you will. And I'm telling everybody I can that go out there and see these boys pitch. I talk to people outside of Florida State, Mike, and I know you know this, but people, they know what Florida State has. This is going to be a fun year, and I wish you the best of luck.
I appreciate it, Jeff, and you're exactly right. You always want to say, I saw that guy pitch in college, and who gets, to the big leagues, the high picks. Well, we've got 6 legitimate arms that could be, first, second round picks, and we love the support. We're going to get this place rocking again, and I promise we'll play hard and smart. Thanks, Jeff.
Be good, brother.
You
Take
too.
care. Our thanks to Mike Martin Jr., head coach, Florida State University, for the conversation. That was fun, Tom. And now we'll segue in to our friends at North Florida Payroll Services. Hey, give them a call today, 850-224-2439. If you're watching on Warchant TV, you see the number there on the screen. We thank our friends at North Florida Payroll Services because this is a fun segment. And soon enough, baseball will, in fact, be back. And we can do probables for our friends at North Florida Payroll Services. In the interim, they're just cool enough to embrace the gambling. And I like that about them as well. And speaking of which, Tom, what do you got for the weekend, baby?
Hey, Big Daddy, having some Red Russians tonight?
We'll know in about 47 seconds.
Into an open wing. It's picked up by Dowdy, an empty net. He scores.
Hot damn, Big Daddy's done it again. Red Russians all around, Teddy.
All right, Big Daddy.
Okay, so now since we do this from the remote studios, we're live to tape with Meat. I had to turn that off.
You know what I like? I like that you sell the hell out of All Right, Big Daddy. That is great. That is you can't wait to pour those Red Russians.
That's right. I can't wait because I'm waiting for that empty netter. And I'm watching. Yeah. There's something actually really exhilarating about watching an empty netter go in, as long as it's shot from the other side of the ice.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. I agree. It's great.
That's why Russians roll around.
So we know, everybody knows we recorded that Meat interview, so we kind of got to project ahead. But I will tell you, I had some fun, and you and I were talking about this off air, looking at the futures for the NFL and the Super Bowl. That's good stuff.
Got a winner. Well, I don't know if it's going to be a winner, but I've got a value pick, I should say. That's probably the better way. So the Indianapolis Colts, if you had to put a list of 2 or 3 teams together that are much like the Rams, and they're one player away or a key position play, like for the Bengals, it's offensive line. They're a couple offensive linemen away from going right back or being in that conversation to be with the Bills and the Chiefs on equal footing. With the Colts, they're just like the Rams. If they get a quarterback, then suddenly, especially in that division, I mean, all you got to beat is Tennessee, and if you have a real quarterback, you're going to take care of them. They're 25-1 right now, plus 2,500 to win the Super Bowl next year. If you're just looking for a future to take a real long shot at right now with a lot of value, you put pizza money on 25-1, it could be a huge payday for you. That's where I'm looking right now, because the moment that Aaron Rodgers' name comes up or Russell Wilson's name comes up and Indy is mentioned with it, that thing's going to get slashed down to 15-1 or 10-1. And if they make the trade for it, it'll be down with the favorites around 650, 6.5-1. So there's your value right there. The Colts are this close. They're just like the Rams if they could go get a quarterback.
I like it. And I would say this, if you're at home wanting to obviously make decisions for yourself, here are the teams that fall in the same realm, the same tier as the Indianapolis Colts in terms of odds. Arizona Cardinals plus 2,500, Los Angeles Chargers plus 2,500, New England Patriots plus 2,500. You like any of those teams better than you like the Colts?
Not if they get a bona fide quarterback, because they already have the running game that travels. They play physically. That offensive line is outstanding. No, I mean, the Chargers in theory could be, but I don't believe in that offense at all.
I don't believe in their coach is the problem, and I like him, but I don't believe in him.
You don't believe in Kyler Murray to stay healthy long enough. And, I mean, is it too soon for, Bill and the Patriots? So, yeah, probably so.
They're not dynamic enough on offense. That's their problem. They're fine at quarterback. He's an average middle-tier quarterback already, but they don't have weapons. So, yeah, that's a problem. I like your bet, Tom. I like it. It's a good one for the weekend. Our thanks to North Florida Payroll Services. Yeah, get on your futures, everybody. Get you some Indianapolis Colts. In fact, this is the time of year to really scrub the futures and look at everything, all the categories, division winners, MVP candidates. This is where you get the best value every year. Enjoy the baseball. It's going to be fun. I'm on my way over there for opening day, I think, like all of you. And happy Libations Friday. Have a great weekend. Our thanks to Matthew, and our thanks to Mike Martin Jr. and all of you. Be good, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday.